with the afterlife, there are so many different ideas and thoughts about what happens. What is your perspective? Because I hear like there's so many things like, okay, so, obviously the Christian idea is that, hey, we go to heaven. But, and then there's the other idea too, is that, oh, we go to this hall of learning and then the soul goes there, and, or we go to a different dimension and we're learning there. So so once we leave our meat suit, where do we go?
Well, I believe that there's like an instant body soul transformation, of course, but then we go to a different dimension, And but I think that we're all connected to that dimension already, through dream world, through that subconscious, unconscious being. Um, but I do believe that we just go to another area. I always believe that we come from there, however. So before we come here, we don't have a body, we don't have any of these things. We come here to this planet to learn our lessons, and then we go back to rise to a higher soul level, is what I think. you know Really what happens there is it's kind of weird. You could perceive things the way you want to. I know that when I had my near death, the very first people, and I met them, I saw them as people, were my grandfather and my brother, but I knew them. And my mother thought that was really funny because I'd never met them. They died in the 50s, both of them about 6 months apart. And, and I was born much later than that. But at the end of it all, my perception of the other side, it is a little bit different. I think it's just that other dimension, but I believe that there's other different dimensions that we go to learn certain experiences. And I think that we visit those dimensions through our dream world. I know that I feel very connected to 2 or 3 very specific spots that I go to in my dreams, which I think that I've had other lives there.
Okay. Is there,
Yeah.
is there anything you can divulge on? Is there any place that you,
Well,
is it a familiar place that we all be recognizing? Like, some people say, well, I'm connected to the Palladians or other star groups or C groups like that. Is it something like that, or?
no, I just think they're like different dimensions or different types of worlds that we go to. I even had visions, and I know it sounds really dumb, but I had visions of even seeing like parades through space and like visiting these things, and it's so beautiful. I can't even imagine that just being a dream or where I would even get that from. But I feel like I'm connected to it somehow. There's even this other city of water. It's all water, and it's not Venice, it's not anything like that. It's so different from Earth, but it's like I lived there before. It's just really weird. But I visit these places in my dreams. It's really
Wow.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love that stuff. It's interesting. I mean, it's so nice to have like a conversation where you can actually talk to people like yourself. And I've had, the opportunity to talk, I've talked to Sean, I've talked to a few other, mediums and psychics and stuff like that. It's always interesting to hear their story and what their perceptions are, because, very much similar. Some are, our own experiences, but they're very, very similar in that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I do believe in that dream world is very connected to us. I mean, we have dreams. We can daydream, but daydream is the same as night dreaming as far as I'm concerned. The only difference between daydreams and night dreams is that you can control your daydreams, but we don't believe that our daydreams are really connected to the other side, but they are. In our daydreams, we're creators. We create through dreaming. That's what we do. We
Yeah.
don't have to have kids to create. But the thing is, my dreams come true every day. I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, there's so many things that I've wanted in my life that just come to me because I think that I believe that they're going to come. So I do make those dreams come true, but I do believe that we function in that dimension. And it's funny because I studied a lot of different people and different things, and I was really into Dr. Robert Lanza. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he
No,
talks
I'm
about,
going to write that down. Dr. Robert
yeah.
Lanza.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a speech of his that he did years ago in New York City. It was about an hour and a half. And it was so like scientific, but I got to tell you, I understood every single thing he was saying because he believes that people exist in different dimensions at the same time. So that your subconscious being, if you're thinking something, you're actually living that. You know what I mean? Instead of just thinking it. So it's not just your imagination, it's actually, you know, it's like living somewhere else. It's kind of cool. But you shouldn't listen to him. Biocentrism is really different. But I was really into that for a while, and I could just really relate to what he was saying about these different dimensions. And I understand nothing of that stuff. I mean, I wasn't trained that way. So, but it's interesting, and I'll listen to different people, but really I've never really read a lot of books or studied anything about the afterlife, where people say, well, who's your go-to medium, or who, there's so many people I love, like you mentioned Sean. I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Sean Leonard. There's so many people I love, but they all bring something different to the table. And I think that's what's so great about mediumship, and
Yeah.
why I love doing this so much.
Yeah. Like, so do you remember that one time where like you just kind of said, okay, I need to follow this. This is my passion. I need to kind of switch gears. Do you
Yep.
remember that day? Do you remember
Oh,
that
yes.
time? Yeah.
The day my mother died.
Oh, okay.
Is the day my mother died. I came home to a sewer backup. I had 9 more that week. And I knew right away, it was like someone telling me, you need to get off you need to stop existing at your job. I really disliked my job. I loved the people I worked with, but I really disliked my job. And I just went in one day. It was just after my bereavement leave. And I went up to my boss and I said, I quit. She goes, pardon me? I said, I quit. She goes, Jay, you can't quit. I said, I just did. She goes, but you can't. You have to give 2 weeks notice in writing. So I said, do you have a piece of paper? She goes, yes. So she gives me a piece of paper. I wrote, I quit. My last day is in 2 weeks. Thank you. And I said, please don't tell anyone that I've quit. I said, I really don't want anyone knowing. I said, I'm going to take 2 weeks vacation. And I said, my last day is January 1st. And it was like mid-December. And she was really, really surprised. And she goes, you're losing your benefits. You're losing so much. I said, I'm not losing anything, honey. I'm not losing anything. I said, I'm actually going to gain a lot more than just sitting here and existing. I said, there's been a fire under me for such a long time. I've been so unhappy here. But I said, it's because I'm not meant to be here. And I said, I understand it now. And I said, I told her, I said, my mother always told me that I was going to do this. She goes, Jane, you're not quitting your job for that. Are you? Are you silly? She said, you have no benefits. You have nothing. I said, no. I said, I'm quitting. I have to go, Carol. So I quit, and that was it. And I never looked back, but I'm telling you, I don't regret it. I don't regret it in the least. Inside, I should have been doing this years ago, but I think I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't have enough life experience. And I've been through some really traumatic type of situations with what I've experienced in my life through policing. I have been held up myself. And when you're at the brink of life and death, I mean, you think you're going to die, because I was held up against my will for about a half hour with a gun against my stomach in an office I used to work. And it really made me decide that what's really more important is really life. I didn't want to work in the stress anymore. I was tired of like the rat race, and really I wanted to help people, and I didn't feel I was helping people the way I should. And I thought that with the pain I'd been through and the experiences I had gone through, that I really served a better purpose there. And so that's what I did. But I have no regrets, Michael. I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now. So
Yeah.
it's great.
I can tell. Like, I mean, you actually glow. Like, you just, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, didn't meet you years ago, but I can just tell that glow when
Mhm.
somebody's living their passion and they're on that right path. And I always encourage people, when you find that thing, and that's part of, soul's path, is to find that, what your mission is, and to be, and
Yes.
once you're in that, it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly your passion, but it's just something that your soul's journey. When you find that, you liven up. Everything just doesn't matter. Like, you just don't worry about stuff. You're just so into the moment and helping people. Things just happen.
Yes. That's exactly how I feel. There's not enough tea in China that you can give me to change my mind about what I'm doing. You can offer me hundreds of thousands of dollars doing something else. I honestly wouldn't be able to do it. I'm just too happy doing this.